Hi everyone, welcome to my third process video. Today I am working on a sketch that there was a challenge on the Victoria Marie Facebook page. It is our hump day or Wednesday challenge, and this time it was to use this sketch and complete your layout in 30 minutes. And I can definitely tell you that I did not finish this one in 30 minutes. It took me a lot longer than that, probably more around 45 or so. So here I'm just showing you different pages that or papers that I used from my stash, and it was nice because I got to use a lot of my scraps. I have lots and lots of pad and paper scraps, and I seem to never ever dig into them, even though I keep pretty much everything that is a decent sized chunk. So this was good for me to be able to use those scraps and get them on a layout. So typically when I use a sketch, I pretty much stick exactly to the sketch. I don't really deviate too much. I don't know, when I have a recipe like this, I just seem to feel like I need to stick with it exactly and do exactly like it shows. So that's kind of what I did here. And what I'm doing now is just adding on the different sprinkles of mist. I'm going to try this one. This is Tattered Angels, but I'm not going to like it. So I end up using a Mr. Huey pink ink, and then I'm using two Lindy's Stamp Gangs inks, or Miss. One is Cosmopolitan Pink and the other one is Blue Hawaii Blue, and they're really pretty. They have some shimmer to them. Lindy's Stamp Gang are probably one of my favorite mists that I own. I think these mists really give the best kind of watercolor mixed look on a page. They're a lot more, not muted isn't probably the word, but they just seem to blend a little bit more, and I think it might be the water content that's in them, but I love the shine and sparkle. You can get them either in a flat where they don't have any shine, or you can get them in the shine. And I think they have other different colors as well, but I really like Lindy's Stamp Gang. They come as a powder, and then you add water to them to reconstitute with hot water, and it's safe probably on shipping, and the bottles are much bigger, so I think you get a lot more bang for your buck. So here I'm just going to cut down all of my pattern paper into 2" by 2" squares, and I'm going to pretty much cut 1 or 2 squares per piece of paper, but I'm only going to end up using 1 square of each paper. So while I'm cutting out all those squares, I want to tell you a little bit about the Victoria Marie Facebook page. It's a great group page. She has lots of challenges. She typically has a Hump Day Wednesday challenge and then a weekend challenge that you can either participate or not. Otherwise, it's just a really fun group to be a part of. They have lots of great ideas and show lots of fun layouts, and I would say it's one of my more active groups that I'm a part of on Facebook. So I definitely suggest that you try it out. Again, that's the Victoria Marie Facebook page, our Facebook group. It's really, really fun. So here I'm just going to continue to cut out all the different pattern papers that I have. And like I said earlier in the video, this is all from my stash. It's various different companies, some from kits, some from scraps of paper that I've had for quite some time. And here's my kitty cat AJ to say hi again. He is the kitty cat that likes to come around all the time and say hi. I have a menagerie of kitty cats, but he seems to really like to be on camera. I'm sure you'll see others, and the scrapbook page I'm doing right now is a picture of my newest member of the family. That was in my last process video. I did a picture, or one of my first process video. So that's Denali when he was about 6 weeks old. He was very cute, and he was sitting on my husband's arm and chest, and I had to snap a little picture of his cute little face. So here I'm just trying to figure out where I want to put all of these different color squares, and mostly I'm just kind of going by eye, trying not to get the same colors together, so I don't want a yellow next to a yellow. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. And then I'm going to change my mind and move things around and not like it and then put them all back. So you're going to see that too, me rearrange it again. And they're kind of all the colors in a way are in somewhat of a triangle pattern. I didn't try to do that, but it kind of ended up that way. And I thought that the squares looked a little plain, so I decided to pull out my Pumice Stone Distress ink and distress all the edges of my paper. And I'm going to show you a couple of these, and then I'm going to fast forward to the end so you don't have to see me doing all of them. So here I'm at the end, and I'm just going to finish up distressing all of the rest of the edges. And I also decided to distress some of the edges of the picture just on the very, very edge. It seemed to have a little white edge, and I didn't like that. So now I'm going to attempt to measure for my squares. With the grid layout, I feel like I need to measure it so it looks even. Normally I would never measure, and I am measuring challenged. So here's my attempt at measuring. I ended up going in 1.5 inches from either side of the page, because each of the squares are 2 inches, and then I just kind of guesstimated the space between each square, and it ended up turning out okay. I think it looks pretty even in the end. And then I'm just going to do that and glue them all down. I'll show you a little bit more measuring, and then I'll fast forward it to finishing gluing them down, so you have to watch the painstaking measurement process. So a little bit about my kitty Denali. He is from a no-kill shelter. I got him in late September, early October, and he was about 8 weeks old. He was very sweet, and now he's crazy, and I'm sure you'll hear more stories about him, and I'll do more layouts about him in the future, but he is our crazy kitty. I hopefully going to do a page about him and comparing him to another kitty cat that I used to have. Here I'm just going to take the same ink that I had earlier, and I'm going to add it on top of the different squares just so that you can see the different layers of color. So it gives a little more interest to the tops of the squares. And then I'm just going to dry that off. And then once that's dry, I'm going to end up taking this to my sewing machine and sewing down a grid in gold colored thread. So you're going to see that in a few minutes here. And here I'm just trimming off all the little pieces, all the strings, and I left the gold on the front kind of hanging off a little bit. I like the look of it, and it's hard to tell from this part of the video, but when I pulled the string out, I accidentally pulled some of the gold string on the front out, so I ended up going in later on and just hand sewing it in. You can never tell. And here I'm just putting washi tape all over the ends so that the ends don't pull through, and just some washi tape. And I'm struggling with washi tape again. I only seem to struggle now that I'm doing process videos. I don't usually have this much problem, but I could not get it off. So here I'm just going to rub it down, turn it over, and I kind of showed you there where I had the boo-boo, and then I fix it later on. And here is me threading the needle, and you're not going to actually see me sew it. That's going to be off camera, but that's what I'm doing right now. So here everything's been fixed. I felt like the photo needed something, so I'm going to try this little stripe paper because this was the inspiration for all the colors that I picked for this layout, but I really just don't like how this ended up looking. I just thought it was too much. So what I end up doing is going in my stash and pulling out a piece of cardstock vellum. It's much thicker than the vellum that you normally get. It's from Stampin' Up, and I really, really like it. It's not good really to stamp on, but it's a really nice solid vellum that's not very flimsy. So it does emboss really well though. So that's what I'm going to do there just to give it a little more texture. And I'm going to stick that down. And then next I'm going to go through all of my embellishments and kind of pick and choose which embellishments I think are going to look good on this page. And in a second the video is going to cut out. My battery died, and I'm going to come back showing you my title and some of the embellishments that I picked out. So here is all the embellishments I picked out in the title. The thickers I used were Lindsay, and they're kind of a mattish goldish color. I am using some gold on the layout, so I thought since some of my embellishments were gold, it would be nice to have a title that kind of matched. But I didn't want a real shiny gold for the title since Denali is a boy. I thought it didn't need to be really shiny, but I wanted to kind of match the elements that I put in the page. And most of the embellishments are from my stash. I have some my Mind's Eye chipboard. That's that blue medallion and a little hello in the bottom right. The vellum is from Studio Calico. That gold banner and that gold circle with a heart on it, that is from the Teresa Collins, I don't know if it's the Gold Collection. I can't remember the name of the collection. And then also that little label in the bottom right is also from that same collection. And then that yellow and the turquoise label in the top right, that is from a Caitlin Schaefer print and cut file that I had. I just print and cut those on the silhouette. I use those all the time in my project life, and since they kind of match this layout, I decided to put them. And then I'm going to fuss with this cluster for a long time. That little vellum circle with the heart was all rolled up and it would not lay flat, and it was driving me crazy. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I also added in some flair. I'm not sure which collections those came from. I just get my flair and I put them all in the same container, so I don't keep the manufacturing information with it. I'm going to try this clip in 2 different places, and I'm not going to like it either place, so that's going to end up not going on the layout. And I'm going to end up bringing in some cork pieces because I really like that heart that's right now in the red square. I'm going to bring some cork pieces in to add to that particular heart. I think I mentioned in my last layout that I really, really like cork. Anytime I can use it and have an excuse to use it, I try to on my pages. Here's just some Studio Calico cork from my stash, the little arrow, and then I have those little chevron-y arrows that I'm just going to add to each of the clusters. And this is a pretty overall simple layout. I didn't do a whole lot. I just added a little bit of embellishment sprinkled here and there. And I swear I had a different cork in my stash that was like a heart or stars. I was going to replace the heart that's in the bottom right cluster because it's a real thick piece of cork, and I didn't really like how much it stood up. I wanted something a little bit lower, but I could not find it, so maybe I'm crazy. Sorry if you just heard my dog barking. He was chasing one of my kitty cats. So hopefully I can finish the rest of the layout without him barking. So I'm just basically putting all the pieces of embellishments all down. So that's pretty much all I'm going to do for the rest of the layout. I also have those little puffy stickers in the top right. I can't remember if those are from Amy Tangerine maybe? I can't remember. I've had those for quite some time and I didn't keep the packaging. So I'm not sure, but right now I'm just adding the vellum, and I'm using that same trick that I showed a video or two back with using my little Xyron sticker maker to add those down, and you can't see the adhesive, and it's just absolutely perfect. So I love that for those vellum pieces, and I learned that from another YouTuber, so I love watching YouTube because I learn all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I find myself saying all the time, oh yeah, I learned this on YouTube, and look what I found on YouTube, and oh, I heard that on YouTube. So YouTube is a fantastic place to go. I find out all kinds of stuff from, I think we fixed our washing machine with YouTube, our stove with YouTube. I learned how to put my silhouette bag together with YouTube. Yes, I admit it, I did not know how to put my silhouette bag together when I got it because it was all messed up, but there was a YouTube video for it, so it was amazing. I don't even watch TV anymore. I am constantly watching YouTube and getting all my ideas from that. I could pretty much turn my TV and cable off and I would be a happy camper. So now back to the layout. I'm actually just going to finish this off with a couple enamel dots that I made with the perler beads. I'm going to end up putting a gray one on that blue medallion, and then I'm going to put a pink one in the bottom right and a yellow one in the top right. There's my kitty cat trying to say hi again. And that's pretty much going to finish off the layout. Oh, and I always glue my enamel dots down with this glue dots. I find if I use any other adhesive, glossy accents, Scotch Quick Dry, they always pop off. So glue dots seem to be the best thing to use for getting those down and keeping them down. And I'm just going to add the date here, and then I'm going to show you what the layout looks like. I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. And here are a few close-ups. Have a great night, guys. Bye-bye.